Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, and I just want to say how exciting it is to be in a room full of people who absolutely understand that this is absolutely a system that's rigged against us and what we are fighting against, and we have an amazing candidate that we are going to fight for. This campaign is about all of us. This is our campaign, and this is
people's heads.
And this is about building political power for the people. It's about having an elected representative who will put human rights, social justice, and climate action first. A representative who is not bought and influenced by APACs, super PACs, and lobbyists, who will pull that lever of power in Congress and vote in the interests of the people, not in the interests of the corporations. Our campaign is for the many, not the money. And we have an amazing panel of featured speakers today because the key to this campaign is working with community to build our platforms, our positions, and support legislation with leaders and activists fighting for the people. Power to the people. So next we have our featured speaker, Brian Roeder. He is the co-founder of Never Again Moss Landing activist group. And if you haven't heard about Moss Landing, the fires there, it's probably because they called it Moss Landing fires, and it sounds like a tiny little issue, but these are lithium fires, and he is extremely knowledgeable, extremely tapped into the community. Please welcome Brian Roeder.
As he said, I'm Brian Roeder, and Frank, I love everything you stand for there, man.
Thanks.
Just makes so much sense, right? Just
Right.
pretty simple.
Makes sense to me.
The world that we should be living in, right? So Sean's been coming to a lot of the things we've been doing since January 16th, when the Moss Landing Battery Energy Storage System facility basically burned to the ground. There's a lot more batteries there, but the main facility, which was 300 megawatts, burned up. Now, some of you guys might have heard about this, right? I mean, it was on the news. And basically, it started on a Thursday, Monday. A bunch of people came out and said the fire was out and everything was okay. So it was a fire, right? It's not a fire. They happen. Problem is, there's a lot of stuff in those batteries that's pretty bad. Really bad. And the Monday after the fire started, a group of us citizens just got together, and one of us, Tanya, said, I want to get the community together because there's a lot of concern about what just happened. So over in sunny little Prunedale, over off of 101 north of Salinas, we met at the Grange, and 200 people showed up, 700 more were online. And I offered to facilitate because I've done that. And I kind of figured that people would show up be pretty pissed and pretty upset and pretty afraid of what was going on because the fire was still burning. And we thought, well, what if we could shift the energy a little bit towards trying to get involved in a dialogue about what we want to do about it. So that's what we did. And as a facilitator, I helped facilitate that. So I use graphic facilitation tools. I write everything on the wall. Everybody's literally on the same page. And then take it home. I translate it all onto digital copy, send it out to everybody. Well, also during that time, my wife Angie started a Facebook group called the Moss Landing Vista Fire Symptoms Group. And she started on Saturday morning after the fire started, 2 days, and there's over 4,000 people there now. So kind of the question is why, right? Well, first off, a week after, on Thursday, before the rains came in, I looked around and said, I don't see anybody testing what came out of that fire, because we were already starting to get kind of sick. I want to know what we were breathing in, right? And so, dumb luck, an environmental hygienist reached out to me that very same day and said, how can I help? And I said, how do we find out what came out of this plant? I said, well, we use these things called ghost wipes. We'll wipe surfaces. Well, we need people to do it. So we went to our social media and to the emails we'd already collected, and we said, do you want to take samples? And we ended up taking 124 samples between Davenport on the coast, Carmel Valley, and Hollister. person went all the way up to Fremont for us. It was wild. And those 124 samples showed that there was an enormous elevation in heavy metals. Four in particular we tested for: lithium, cobalt, manganese, and nickel. If those sound kind of gross, they are. And what made it really bad is that we found out since that this fire burned at incredibly high temperatures, because you got to picture that these are massive battery racks in shipping containers in a gigantic building. They used to house the turbines there. And when these things burn, you can't put them out. They generate their own oxygen. You could fire the Tesla into space, pop the battery, and it's going to burn in space, right? That's what these things do. So these enormous number of batteries, just to put it in perspective, one cell is like a AA battery. It's not shaped like it, but it's equivalent. There are over 4.5 million of those kinds of things inside this building. But basically almost all burned out. And there's all kinds of really bad stuff in there. Like I said, these metals are there, but the problem is that it burned so hot, it literally vaporized what was in those. Now, we're not just talking about metals. There's also copper, and there's PFAS, and dioxins, and forever chemicals, all that gross stuff we hear about all the time. And that was all turned into a mist that went over a very large area. And that's what our metal testing showed, kind of like canary in the coal mine. Hey, if this is here, everything else was here, right? So, guess what it comes down to? A lot of people got really sick. My wife included. I started to get sick. We abandoned our house on January 28th. We have a 7-year-old son. I'm like, I'm an old daddy. And we went and got Airbnbs over on the peninsula, and I always say, we're lucky we got out. I ended up buying a house over near the ocean. You know, we were able to escape. But there are hundreds of people there who couldn't. This is a community, Royal Oaks, Prunedale area, Castroville, a lot of farm workers, of course. There's this amazing picture of the guy in a tractor and the fires in the background. I mean, the farm community got that Friday off, and we're back in the fields on Saturday. Okay? But also retirees, vets, people with livestock, people on fixed incomes, they're there. Now, it's weird because a lot of people haven't heard about this, and there's a reason for that. If you were healthy while you were inhaling this incredibly toxic mix of stuff, you might have felt like you had a cold. And I've talked to a lot of people who said this felt like maybe they had a cold in the winter. And you were told the fire went out, so I had a cold. Our family had a cold. We all got a cold. Buddy of mine, doctor, we all got a cold. He now knows better. But if you had pre-existing conditions, or bronchial issues, or immuno issues, you got clobbered. So this cloud went out over a huge area, up into Santa Cruz, over into San Juan Bautista area, down into Salinas, but especially where we were. And a lot of people got really sick. And if you go to that Moss Landing Vistra fire symptoms group, you'll see thousands of entries, hundreds of people. So I've been trying to figure out what's going on because I'm involved in Never Again. Kind of the emails drop on my desktop, the website's there, I manage it, among other things. I've talked to a lot of people. I'm kind of a node. I try and connect ideas and people and what things mean. So here's what I've learned. This is an obscenely profitable industry. Obscenely. I can't overemphasize the word of that word. And the problem is that our government authorities to date have largely set aside the protection of health, safety, and welfare, which when you think about it, is really what government's about. When you boil it all down, we want our government to be there to protect us, okay? And they've done it because, as I am, we're very committed to decarbonization. I don't know about everybody here, I'm not going to speak for everybody else. I would like to see us decarbonize. So we're using these battery systems to do it, because during the day, what's happening is corporations are buying the power from our rooftops and other places for pennies on the dollar, because it's an open market. We're making more of it than we can use, and then they store it in these giant facilities, and then at night they sell it back to us for dollars on the penny. And we're paying for all of it. Okay, that's the racket. But the problem is that because we're so committed to this goal of complete decarbonization by 2045, our authorities have set aside regulation of these incredibly, incredibly dangerous technologies. There are some people who say that all of it's bad. I'm not there, but the batteries, for sure, we have proof, are really bad. And all those people I was talking about who thought they had a cold, all of us now who are exposed to this have a loaded gun next to our heads. I say this to people. And it's Russian roulette, because some people are going to get really sick from this. We inhaled it, it's there, it's in us. Our environment, it's there. This stuff's not going away, okay? We just got dioxin testing. I saw the results for the first time 3 days ago. They're not horrible, they're not great. There's some big elevated numbers there. Back to those numbers real quick. Normally the environment looks like the baseline for these metals I mentioned is between 1/2 and 5 parts per billion. We saw as much as 690 parts per billion. That's on the surface afterwards, so that means that was in the air. Will it kill you? We don't know, but it looks like it's pretty bad for people and for creatures. I'm here because Sean's been involved in this from the very beginning. He's come to a lot of things that we've done as a community. He's taken an interest in it. Leon Panetta really hasn't. You know, I think he's doing some stuff behind the scenes, but we've been trying to get our state senator, John Laird, and Leon Panetta, and other people to just show up and talk to us. To hear the pain that's happened in our community and the damages. And they won't. And that bugs me. Being nice here, that bugs me, right? And, you know, and Sean has. So I'm here supporting Sean today by speaking to tell you what's happened. And you can go to our website, neveragainmosslanding.org, and you'll learn a lot. And there'll be more there as time goes by. And a lot of what we've learned isn't there because I don't have time to get it up on the website. But Sean's been there, and he cares about these things. He's real. And I think that's what we need. We need people who start to reconnect with us because they're us. You know, and Jimmy is the son of what I thought was a pretty good congressman and administrator. But he seems to, I'm sure he's doing some stuff, but he doesn't seem to be present. And I wish he was, because we need help, and I appreciate that Sean is. So I think I've used that 10 minutes. Thank you.
I cannot emphasize enough the importance of knowing that that is going on. It is hidden. It is absolutely, you're not going to hear about it. And we want to spread awareness about the things that are impacting our food, our air, our health, everything. So thank you so much, Brian.